Hi everyone, my name is Abhiraj Garakapati. Welcome to my YouTube channel Amazing Abhi. Episode 6, The Council of the West, is the point where Season 4 makes its political conflict much clearer. This is not an episode built around a flashy boss fight. It is about pressure, diplomacy, and Rimuru realizing that the official negotiation in front of him is only the surface layer. The council's demands are not just strict. They feel deliberately unreasonable, almost like someone designed them to provoke Tempest into reacting badly. That is what makes the episode interesting. Rimuru is powerful enough to crush most opponents, but here strength alone is not the answer. He has to read the room, understand the trap, protect Tempest's future, and avoid giving his enemies the excuse they are waiting for. The recap begins with Rimuru facing the official world of human politics. Tempest wants to be accepted as a serious nation, not treated like a monster settlement that humans can use, fear, or discard whenever convenient. But the Council of the West does not simply welcome Rimuru with open arms. Instead, the atmosphere is tense from the start. The meeting feels formal, polished, and civil on the outside, but every word carries a hidden blade. This is the kind of setting where smiling faces can be more dangerous than swords. For Rimuru, the real battle is not about defeating soldiers. It is about proving that Tempest deserves respect, while refusing to be boxed into a humiliating. The episode then reveals the darker side of the political situation. The unreasonable list of conditions tells Rimuru that someone behind the scenes is trying to control the outcome. The demands are not written like a fair treaty. They are written like a trap. If Rimuru accepts everything, Tempest loses freedom and influence. If he refuses too harshly, enemies can paint him as a dangerous demon lord who cannot cooperate with humanity. This is why the episode works as a chess match. Rimuru is not just reacting emotionally. He is measuring every move, because the wrong answer could damage Tempest's reputation across the Western nation. One of the best parts of Episode 6 is seeing Rimuru's controlled anger. He is clearly frustrated, but he does not lose himself. That matters because Rimuru's greatest strength is not only his raw power, it is his ability to stay calm, analyze the situation, and turn bad conditions into an advantage. This episode reminds us that he has grown into a ruler. Earlier in the story, he often solved problems by reacting as a good-hearted person with absurd abilities. Now he has to act like the leader of a country. His choices affect citizens, allies, trade routes, future diplomacy, and the balance between humans and monsters. Before we move ahead, please take a second to like on this video. A like tells me that you enjoyed this topic. Your support helps Amazing Abhi grow naturally. Tempest's side also becomes important in this episode because Rimuru is not alone. His subordinates and allies understand that an insult toward Rimuru is an insult toward the whole nation, but their loyalty is also dangerous if it turns into uncontrolled fury. This creates a strong internal tension. Everyone around Rimuru knows they could respond with overwhelming force, but the smarter path is restraint. Episode 6 shows that Tempest's power is no longer hidden. The question is not whether Tempest can fight. The question is whether Tempest can become recognized without letting enemies force it into a war narrative. The Council's behavior also exposes a larger theme. Humans still underestimate Tempest. Even after everything Rimuru has accomplished, some people still see him as a convenient monster ruler who can be pressured through paperwork, fear, and political tradition. That underestimation is almost funny, but it is also dangerous. The Western nobles are used to controlling information and shaping public opinion. They do not fully understand that Rimuru is not a normal political opponent. He has military power, economic value, demon lord status, and extremely loyal allies. Episode 6 turns that gap in understanding into suspense. The deeper plot becomes the real hook of the episode. Once Rimuru realizes that the demands are too unreasonable to be accidental, the story shifts from simple negotiation to investigation. Someone benefits if Tempest is isolated. Someone benefits if the Western nations stay afraid of Rimuru. Someone benefits if human-monster cooperation fails before it can truly begin. This makes Episode 6 feel like a doorway into a wider conspiracy. It tells the viewer that the enemy is not just one angry politician or one stubborn council. The real danger is a network of people who know how to use institutions, fear, and diplomacy as well. As a review, Episode 6 is strongest when it treats diplomacy like a battlefield. The tension comes from documents, conditions, hidden intentions, and the possibility of political humiliation. For viewers who enjoy action every week, this may feel slower, but for viewers who like Tensura's world building, this is a very important episode. It explains why Rimuru's dream of a human-monster alliance is not easy. Monsters can build a city, win battles, and create wealth, but acceptance from human society requires surviving prejudice, manipulation, and power games. That is the real conflict Season 4 is exploring. The emotional core of the episode is Rimuru dream for Tempest. He does not simply want to rule a strong monster nation. He wants Tempest to become a place where different races can cooperate, trade, travel, and live without fear. Episode 6 pushes against that dream by showing how hard it is to change old systems. The Western nations do not just need proof that Tempest is useful. They need to overcome fear, pride, and political interests. That is why the city imagery matters. Tempest represents possibility. The council represents the old world trying to decide whether that possibility is acceptable or threatening. The episode also works because it makes Rimuru's restraint feel powerful. Anyone can look strong by destroying an enemy. Rimuru looks strong here because he does not need to immediately destroy anyone. He can take an insult, analyze it, and prepare a smarter response. That is leadership. This is also where the contrast between Tempest and its enemies becomes clear. The hostile side is using fear and manipulation. Rimuru is trying to build legitimacy and cooperation. Even when he is angry, he is still thinking about the future. That difference makes him feel more like a true ruler than a simple overpowered protagonist. For the full recap, Episode 6 takes the momentum from the previous meeting and sharpens it. Rimuru receives the council's demands, sees how unreasonable they are, realizes that there is a deeper scheme behind them, and begins shifting from simple negotiation into strategic response. The episode's key tension is not whether Rimuru can win a fight. The key tension is whether he can win the political game without letting the other side define him as a threat. That is why the episode feels like a turning point. It confirms that the Western Alliance issue is not just bureaucracy. It is a planned challenge to Tempest's future place in the world. Final verdict. Episode 6 is a strong political setup episode. It may not be the most explosive chapter visually, but it is important because it raises the stakes beyond dungeon battles and festival excitement. It reminds us that Rimuru's biggest enemies are not always monsters or demon lords. Sometimes the most dangerous opponents are people in polished rooms, hiding behind laws, councils, and formal agreements. The episode leaves viewers with a clear question: who is truly pulling the strings? And how will Rimuru expose them without damaging the peace he is trying to build? That question makes Episode 6 a solid bridge into the next phase of Season 4. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to Amazing Up High. Subscribing makes sure you do not miss the next video, and it gives me motivation to keep improving the quality of every upload. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.